Hello from Kingfisher, Oklahoma. Today we're going to talk about 7 things from Genesis 22 and 23. The first thing is God puts Abraham to the test. This is a very famous story. Hope you've heard it before. We know that our faith can get tested in life by many things. Maybe it's a God-sent situation like this, or maybe it's our own sin life, or just regular course of life itself, our interactions with people. The question is, how will you respond when your faith is tested, when you're tested in life? 2, this story is a foreshadowing of what is to come with Jesus Christ. God is going to offer his son as a sacrifice to us, and this is a foreshadowing of it right here. Somebody once said, the New Testament is in the Old Testament concealed, and the Old Testament is in the New Testament revealed. So this is a picture that's going to happen in the New Testament, just kind of concealed in this story here. Third thing is, I love how Abraham is unwavering in his belief. God is going to provide. He says that a few times. So that is the reminder, one, that I needed today. Hope you needed it to do. Hope you needed it too today. God will provide. You need that unwavering faith. That doesn't mean you're going to be rich, although you might be. It just means that God is going to provide your needs, like he promises. Number 4, farther down in chapter 22, we see the name Jehovah Jireh, which means the Lord provides. Very often things are named after attributes of God, and this is one of them. Number 5, Abraham gets a reminder of God's covenant. That's pretty cool. Once again, he's just keeping it in front of him. Hey, I'm going to do this. Hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. He keeps reminding Abraham what's going to happen. God's not trying to be secret in your life. He's given you the Bible in print, and he's still at work today. He's not trying to be secretive. Number 6, Bethuel begat Rebekah. Now, this is going to be important later. I just want you to make note of it now, that Abraham's brother is starting to have children, and we find that one of those children is Bethuel, who begets Rebekah. And number 7, Abraham buries his wife, Sarah. The sad note. She's 127, and if you recall, people's ages have been going down systematically since the flood. God set a limit on people's years, and so we see that people are gradually approaching this limit, and we see today people generally just don't exceed 120. You know, it's just not so. God set that boundary in life. So he is in charge of the human body. So there you go. Those are 7 things. Let's read our chapter now. 22. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham. He said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him thereon as a burnt offering upon the mountain, and I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and a clave of wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went to the place which God had told him. Then on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with this ass, and I and the lad will go up yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they both went together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb for a burnt offering? Obviously, they did this often. And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for the burnt offering. So they both went together. They came to the place which God had told him of, and Abraham built in the altar, and laid the wood in order, and bound his son Isaac, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called out from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do the thing unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted his eyes, and behold, behind him a ram caught in the thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him for a burnt offering instead of his son. Whew, that's close. But God provides. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Jireh, the Lord provides. As it said unto this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. And an angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven a second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord. For because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withhold thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, the promise, and the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. That's back in chapter 12. Because thou hast obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned to his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba. And Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And when it came to pass these things, that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she hath borne children unto thy brother Nahor. Huz, his firstborn, and Buz, his brother, and Kemuel, and the father of Aram, and Chesed, and Hazo, and Pildash, and Jidlaph, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begat Rebekah. These 8 Milcah did bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother. And his concubine, whose name was Reumah, she bare also Teba, and Gam, and Tahash, and Maachah. Chapter 23. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba. The same is in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went to mourn for Sarah and weep for her. And Abraham stood up from before his dead, and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger, and a sojourner with you. Give me possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my lord, thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre, but thou mayest bury thy dead. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even unto the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying, If it is in your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, entreat to Ephron, the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is at the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it to me, for a possession and a burying place amongst you. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abram in the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went to the gate of the city, saying, Nay, my lord, hear me. This is how to bargain, by the way. The field give I thee, and the cave that is within I give to thee. In the presence of the sons of my people I give to thee. Give it to thee. Bury thy dead. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land. And he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people, saying, But if thou wilt give it to me, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham and said, My lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. But what is that betwixt me and thee? Bury thy dead. So Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money, with the merchant. And in the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was in Mamre, the field and the cave therein, and all the trees were of the field, that were the borders round about, were made sure unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all went to the gate of the city. After this, Abraham buried his wife in a cave at the field of Machpelah before Mamre. The same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein made a burying place Abraham for a possession by the sons of Heth. Now, we see this is kind of the tail end of Abraham's story, but it's not the end of the promise, nor is it the end of God's story. So we're going to see where this goes next. Join us. Catch you later.